The sea breeze in Alexandria carries a hint of salt and ancient secrets, whispering through the moonlit streets. It was on a night just like this, under the watchful gaze of the cave-based citadel, that everything changed. We had walked these same paths countless times, our conversations a comfortable rhythm, our laughter echoing against the old stone walls. But tonight, there was a different kind of magic in the air, a tension that was both exhilarating and terrifying. We found ourselves at a small cafe overlooking the harbor, the lights of fishing boats twinkling on the dark water like scattered stars. The aroma of strong coffee and sweet shisha hung in the air, a familiar scent that suddenly felt charged with unspoken emotions. For so long, we had danced around the truth, hiding behind the safety of friendship. We had built walls around our hearts, convinced it was for the best, convinced that what we had was enough. But destiny, it seems, has a way of wearing down even the strongest defenses. I remember looking at you across the small table, the soft glow of the lanterns illuminating your face. In your eyes, I saw a reflection of my own turmoil, my own yearning. The playful banter that usually filled our silences had faded, replaced by a profound quiet that said more than words ever could. It was in that quiet that the first crack appeared in my carefully constructed facade. Every shared glance, every accidental brush of our hands had been a small tremor, and tonight, the earthquake was finally here. The city of Alexandria has witnessed countless stories of love and loss. It's a city built on layers of history where Cleopatra once loved and ruled. Tonight, it felt like we were adding our own small chapter to its epic tale. The gentle lapping of the Mediterranean against the shore seemed to be counting down the seconds, urging us to surrender to what was so clearly meant to be. It was a moment suspended in time, fragile and yet incredibly powerful. I took a deep breath, the sea air filling my lungs. I knew that once the words were spoken, there was no going back. The comfortable world we had built would be gone forever, replaced by something new, something unknown. But the fear of the unknown was finally overshadowed by the fear of never knowing, of letting this moment slip away into a sea of regrets. And so, I began to speak. My voice was barely a whisper at first, fragile against the sounds of the city. I confessed everything. I told you how every smile of yours was a sunrise in my world, how your laughter was a melody I never wanted to end. I admitted that my heart had been yours for longer than I had dared to admit. Even to myself, I laid bare my soul, my vulnerabilities, my deepest hopes. Right there in the heart of Alexandria's enchanting night, I watched as a wave of emotions washed over your face, surprise, recognition, and then a slow, breathtaking smile. It was a smile that reached your eyes, erasing all the doubt and hesitation that had lived between us for so long. And when you finally spoke, your voice was steady and clear. You told me you felt the same, that you had been waiting, hoping for this very moment. You said you had been fighting a battle you were secretly desperate to lose. In that instant, the world seemed to fall away. It was just us, two souls finally admitting the truth, to hearts surrendering to a love that felt as ancient and as enduring as the city around us. The air, once thick with tension, was now filled with a sense of relief, a pure and unadulterated joy. It was a turning point, not just in our story, but in our very lives. We left the cafe hand in hand, a simple gesture that felt monumental. We walked along the Corniche, the sea on one side and the sleeping city on the other. We didn't need to talk much anymore. The confession had broken the dam, and now a river of understanding flowed peacefully between us. It was a feeling of coming home, of finding a piece of yourself you didn't even know was missing. The night in Alexandria had woven its spell around us. The moon seemed to shine brighter. The stars seemed to lean in closer, as if to bear witness to our newfound beginning. We were no longer just friends walking through a historic city. We were two people at the start of an epic journey, our hands clasped together as a promise. This was the night. Our destiny became undeniable. It was a night of raw, honest emotion, a night where we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable and were rewarded with a love that felt fated. It wasn't a fairy tale with a grand, dramatic flourish. It was something far more real, more profound. It was quiet, it was certain, and it was ours. Standing there, with the silhouette of the Bibliotheca Alexandrina in the distance, a symbol of knowledge and eternity, it felt fitting. We were at the beginning of our own library of memories, and this night was the first, most precious volume. It was the foundation of an eternal love, built on a friendship that had blossomed into something extraordinary. Every time I smell the sea or see the moon reflected on water, I'm taken back to that night in Alexandria, the night our hearts finally stopped fighting and surrendered to each other. It was the moment our separate paths merged into one, destined to walk together towards a shared horizon. That night, love wasn't just a feeling, it became our reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to a very special night. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales of life and love. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a moment where everything changed. Until next time.